Welcome, one and all, to Five Nights at Freddy's Decoded. I am Shade,
I'm Mad Hatter.
and here we are. I know we had told you all that we were going to release a video a while ago, but there's a lot of notes to compile, a lot of research to do. We are oh god, he turned. We are only a two-man team.
Yeah, well, technically, I don't know how many you had you inside my head right now, but still, technically, physically, two people.
Physically two people, so we apologize about any sort of lateness, but we are here and we are ready to hit you with all of the facts and all the theories we got. So,
yeah, from what we've been able to figure out, there is at least 5 theories with the Five Nights at Freddy's. About only 3 of them make sense, so we're just going to go with those 3 for right now. But the main thing is why a lot of people go, tantrum on this thing is because there's so many
loose ends.
Yeah, loose ends, pretty much. But so we decided to just lay out the facts and then fill in the blanks from there.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is do a recap for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who do, about what has gone on with Five Nights at Freddy's, the series thus far. So, Hatter, if you will.
All right. So in the first game of Five Nights at Freddy's, which is the first one, which is what happens is that you are night guard at a fast food or pizzeria, pretty much. And the place is Freddy's Fazbear's, where you watch over the place while 4 different animatronics, Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, yep. Each have their own respective spots in the building. You are in your own safe...
He's looking into my soul.
Yeah, that too. Your safe little hidey hole, pretty much, and you only have the only way that you can protect yourself from these. Yep, from that is the 2 doors on your left and right. Because apparently that since they only allowed to walk during the night and stand up on stage during the day, and so to make sure that nothing can be broken, they can only walk around during that time. But because of that, they think that you are a naked endoskeleton without its costume, like that.
Hi.
So what they need to do is that you have to protect yourself from the door, but because of that, you only have a limited amount of power.
Yep.
So the more you use the doors, the more that the power goes out, and the more that you have a chance of being killed by 4 different ones, plus the hidden one, which has been dubbed Golden Freddy.
Yeah, now, in the first game, doesn't the power run out when you check the cameras and flash the lights too?
The lights on the side, they don't take that much power. Looking up at the camera doesn't take that much power. The one that takes the majority of the power is when you close the doors.
Okay.
Because they're not like regular doors where they're automatically shut. You use power to lift them, but this takes power to shut them. So that's why they drain more power.
Aren't they steel reinforced too?
Yeah, that's why they can't bust through.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the glass must be reinforced too, because they wouldn't have just busted through that a while ago.
And in the first game, they don't even try to break through the glass. They just try to break the high.
Yeah, they just stare at you like that right there.
Yeah.
But yes, so you go through 5 nights. You go 6 nights for overpay, and 7th night is your custom night. And all the while, each night getting more and more dangerous for you. And and each night the phone guy, which is what he's dubbed since we have no idea what his name is, he gives you tips and hints and clues and backstory to this whole entire game. And until night 4 or 5 is when the phone guy dies. We hear that all the animatronics pretty much corner him and they kill him.
And it's like, if you listen to the recording on night 4, it's almost as if the animatronics break through the door. Like
they try to break through the door, but like what happens with you, if you run out of power.
Oh yeah.
That's the only time you ever hear Freddy's like the Happy Birthday song thing.
Oh yeah.
And then that's when all of them start to lunge on him and kill him. And then on night 5 is when we get that freaky voicemail message. From what I've been able to research on that is actually a message played backwards and distorted, and it's a passage from the life of a yogi, which he was basically, it sums up that all life, animal, man, even machine is all linked on a spiritual level.
I just gotta say, while you guys are seeing this on the screen, we're also seeing it on the TV, and it is disturbing to have running in the background, but please continue.
Yeah. So, after that, you if you beat all nights, and on the last night of night 7 with all 999, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, or it's all 10s. It's on the max level,
Yeah.
which took forever.
Wasn't it 20?
Yeah, something like that. I must be
Yeah.
thinking of a different game, but still, that took forever to get that thing going. You are finally released with a pink slip, pretty much saying you're fired for messing with the animatronics,
Yep.
unprofessionalism, and foul odor, apparently. So you
Yep.
don't take a shower, I guess.
Yeah.
Good for you. And that's what happens. You survive all 7 nights. The things did not kill you and skin you alive or put you in an endoskeleton. The only thing showing is your teeth and eyeballs, which is also a very gruesome scene to see.
Right, Freddy? You
Yeah,
agreed.
yeah, I bet you agree. Now, go back from what we've been able to figure out is Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Same thing happens. From what we can figure out from the facts is that this is a game that happens before the first game. This is that was a prequel. So in this one, same thing happens, but it's a bigger place, and not only do you have old animatronics, you have new animatronics coming after you.
And we find out in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that the old animatronics are actually quite old.
Yes, those aren't the original ones from the first ones, because if you look at them in detail and compare them to the original ones, they're nothing alike. There are similarities, but they're not the same thing. The originals came from the first pizzeria that they came from what explains from the phone guy, who also is another clue that this is a game before the first one, because phone guy's already dead. There's no way that he would come back somehow and talk to you in the first game.
Yep.
But yes, it's basically the same thing as in the first one. You have new animatronics that have facial recognition that are pretty much linked up to a sex offender database, which is smart because it keeps any of those pedophiles or any other murderers away from children, keep it a safe and family-friendly place.
Yep.
But bad thing is though that you not only do you have those things coming after you, you have the old animatronics that are all worn down and pretty much just used for spare parts.
Yep.
That come unlike the first one where you could hide in your safe little hidey hole with 2 doors, you have one open door, which the only protection from that is a flashlight, and 2 vents from your left, where you can only use with those is a Freddy. Hi, Freddy.
Yeah.
Empty mask that you can wear over your head to make sure that no one can think that you're just. They think that you're one of them. I guess a smart enough plan. But you also have another one you have to worry about. The Jack in the Box. You have to keep going into the camera and wind his music box up to make sure that he doesn't pop out there and kill you.
Right on cue, Freddy. Which I guess the internet has dubbed the marionette.
Yes. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but he pretty much just lives in a Jack in the Box, it looks like.
Yeah, he's a Jack in the Box. You wind his crank up, it plays the song, and you have to keep the song from running out, because once the song runs out, like a regular Jack in the Box, Jack pops out to play.
Yes. Now, from what we've been able to get the facts from those 2 games, here's what we know so far, or pretty much what the developer Scott has been able to, I guess, give us. From what we know, there are at least 4 to 5 security guards in games 1 and 2. We have Jeremy Fitzgerald, which is the watchman from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. He's from days 1 through 6. We have Fritz Smith, who's also the security guard for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. He's the only one that's on day 7, which was also very hard to beat. And he only was there for a day, because even on the pink slip it says, seriously, first day.
Yep. And you were fired and that was Golden Freddy night, where everybody, the new animatronics, the old animatronics, Balloon Boy, and Golden Freddy,
We're all trying to kill you.
were all on 20. And
Yes.
it said you were fired for tampering with the animatronics and not foul, just odor.
Yeah.
Just odor. So that's another link between the 2 games. There has been foul odor in both games.
And then we have the Day Watchman from Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which we have no idea who he is. All we know that he was originally in the night position that you took over, and then switched over to the AM, and then mysteriously disappeared.
He switched over because he said that there were strange occurrences that happened during the night shift.
Yes, and that could just be his mind playing tricks on him until you step in his position and you see what he was talking about.
That's right.
And then you have Mike Schmidt, who was the original Five Nights at Freddy's first night watchman from days 1 through 7. And then we have the last one, who I'm guessing is supposed to be the phone guy. And he just leaves messages. There are some people thinking that Fritz Smith is him or not, but I'm not sure because Fritz Smith was only there for a day.
Well, Fritz Smith, That's the thing about the second one. Not to jump into
Yeah, keep going.
theory too much, but if you work nights 1 through 6, the phone guy tells you on night 6, I believe. Do you get a phone call from phone guy on night 6?
Mm-hmm.
You get a phone call from phone guy on night 6 asking, what are you doing there? The place has been shut down. They're only going to be open for one more day, and that's to do a birthday party. So he says it's extremely dangerous to be there. It's easier, since the place was locked down, for you to just finish your shift and then leave. And he says that, everybody has been laid off, but we'll probably bring you back in a new location when we open up later. But I'll be taking the night shift after you leave,
Yeah.
which is why people believe that Fritz Smith is the phone guy's name,
Yeah.
because he was the only replacement for that one last day.
Yeah, that's what many people believe for. Also, from what she said there, that the last birthday party could be the incident of the bite of 87.
Because it doesn't look like anything of that sort has happened as of yet leading up to it, because the phone guy doesn't make any reference of it. He only says that there's a police investigation that's going on leading up to your last night 6. And he only starts talking about the investigation on night 4, I think.
Something like that, yeah, about 3 or 4, because in the first game, they talk about the bite of 87 pretty much really early on.
Yeah.
But in the second one, they don't talk about it at all. And also, going into that, we know that Five Nights at Freddy's 2 happens between 11/08, 1987 to 11/14, 1987.
Yep.
So that gives us also another good clue that it's up to the bite of 87. Five Nights at Freddy's 1 happens, now here's the odd thing, it's 11/08XX to 11/14XX. It doesn't give us the year. But thanks to minimum wage and also other ideas from other theorists, it's somewhere between the years of 1993 to 1996. More than likely 1993.
Yeah. I would say so, yes.
Yes. And also from that, we also know that the establishment, at least Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, has been open for at least 20 years.
Yes.
Because in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, the phone guy pretty much tells us that I don't feel sorry for these guys for walking around, because I've been singing those same stupid songs for 20 years.
Yep.
So we know that this establishment has been going on for that long. Now, the darker part of this is that at least 5 kids went missing during those 20 years, pretty much.
Yeah.
That no bodies were found. From the newspaper articles that you can find from the first Five Nights at Freddy's, it's one of them mentioned that 2 kids were seen being taken by someone that more than likely is in the Golden Freddy's costume. That he was seen on security camera, and then the next day they caught him.
Yeah.
But they never actually said if he was an employee or someone who worked there or just this random person. All they know is that he wore a costume and tricked the kids into gaining their trust.
And it never said that they found the bodies of those 2 children that he lured away.
Or the other ones either.
Yep.
And then there were at least 4 Freddy Fazbear's establishments. There was at least 1 diner or fast food restaurant. There was at least 3 pizzerias.
Yeah.
And then, and the final things that we also know about that is that from what we know from all the, since there was at least 4 establishments, the third one was more likely where the first murders happened, where the children were more than likely stuffed into the animatronics, because another newspaper article where a parent was saying that there was blood and mucus oozing out of the animatronics, making them look like they were reanimated corpse.
That, and there was a foul odor coming from the animatronics.
And also from Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the phone guys also said that when they brought over the old animatronics from that establishment, it's been pretty much rotten. It's been laid to just rot, and also that they had foul odor coming from them as well, which could pretty much explain where they came from and how which one the murders first happened to, which was that first pizzeria.
Yes, and the phone guy tells you that the old animatronics were brought from the old location because children were playing with the new animatronics so much that they started to break down.
Yeah.
And so they originally were going to bring the old animatronics over so that they can be replacements for the new animatronics while they were being repaired. So they had begun retrofitting the old animatronics with new technology. But the repairs were happening so often that they just decided to use the old animatronic parts in the new machines, which is why you see Bonnie's face not there. A majority of Bonnie's
Yeah,
face
because they
missing.
didn't want to waste so much money on those things because it was like, well, no one really likes the old ones, so let's just use
'Cause
them
they
for
look
spare
creepy.
parts. Yeah, so that's why
Even
they
though
just use them for spare.
the phone guy did say that he really enjoyed the look of the old animatronics in
Yeah.
one of his phone. I think it was night 3
Yeah.
that he said he enjoyed the look of the old animatronics. He prefers them, and that Foxy was his favorite to watch perform.
Yep. So he's been around for a while. That's also brings up to one of the theories as well, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. But the old animatronics, if you look at the game, if you looked at the previews of the game and you actually look at oh God, Freddy. He just, you can't see it, but every time I have to cover my eyes because I can't look at him. It's so disturbing. But if you look at the cameras and you look at the actual previews, they're not actually using the old animatronics in service. They have them sitting in a dark back room somewhere in a pile or just laid in heaps wherever they threw them so they could just go back and get parts. So it makes sense when they weren't supposed to be active at all. They were just supposed to be completely inactive hunks of metal, which is why it makes sense that the phone guy nervously asked you when you made it past night 1, I believe, on Five Nights at Freddy's 2, did you see old Foxy down the hallway?
Yeah.
Because he wasn't supposed to be moving.
Yeah. I think it was either night 2 or 3 is when he talks
Asked
about
you
that.
about that. And that's when the Mangled actually really starts to make an appearance as well.
Yeah, he starts showing up on night 2, I
Yeah.
think. Or pretty much night 1 and 2 is when he starts really going.
And so does Bonnie. Old Bonnie. But that'll be in the theories that we get to. But please continue with the lore.
Yes, and so from what we figured out, that is pretty much, I think that's pretty much all the facts that we've pretty much can give that the games gives us pretty much.
The hardcore facts that anybody can go and look up, and if you play the games for yourself, it's going to be all laid out. So now that we have, oh God,
There you go.
excuse me, I'm sorry, we're so professional.
Something like that.
Now that we have recapped the lore from the game, it's time to delve into the theory. So what is theory number 1?
Theory number 1 is, from what we can figure out, well, part 1 of theory 1 is that the animatronics are the reanimated, I guess, like I said, reanimated corpse from the dead children. They are the evil spirits that are haunting this establishment and trying to find their killer and anyone who pretty much looks like them.
Yep.
And that's why they always go after the night guard. From what we can figure out from the because in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, when you sometimes you get killed by one of the animatronics, you don't just die and get a game over. You get these little mini games.
Yes.
That delves into clues to the previous establishments. So, theory 1 from that these are the dead children wanting revenge. From one of the mini games, you play as Freddy, and you're trying to give cake to some of the kids. While you're doing that, you notice a kid outside crying, and apparently I'm guessing that he wants to be in Freddy Fazbear's diner or fast food restaurant, but he's not allowed in, or he doesn't have enough money to do it.
Yep.
But while you're pretty much trying to get the kids from not to cry, you probably don't notice at first that there's a car that rolls up and a purple man comes out. You think nothing of it, you think maybe it's his parents, then all of a sudden later the kid...
Or the purple man looks left to right
Yeah,
first.
somewhat. And then the child's eyes grow big, he cries even more, and he just goes
Turns
gray. And I'm more likely that means he was killed right there. That is where the murders happened from the dead kid. And I believe that's when the fast food or diner place sold their name over to this new entertainment business, which is now dubbed Fazbear's Entertainment. More than likely, they closed the place down, demolished and rebuilt the first pizzeria. What they didn't know was, I'm pretty sure that the killer, who was also a fan of the establishment, since apparently he's been killing ever since the diner all the way up to the third pizzeria, he more likely killed the kid there, buried him under there, or buried him near there, and then they built it on top of him. And that's when they had the first animatronic were Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, Freddy, all of them. But I'm also thinking that's also where they had the marionette there as well. There's proof of that when you play Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and you begin each day. You have a little cinematic where you are in an animatronic looking left and right, and you see Chica to your left, Bonnie to your right.
Yep.
And slowly each day they look towards you like they're alive.
Yep.
One, then the other, then you see Freddy, and then the last one you see is the marionette looking at you. And one of the mini games, it says give them life. So that points out that he's each dead children that were killed by the purple guy, he's putting them in there and bringing them to life.
Well, it lets you know that he's talking about the kids, because at first it says give them presents.
Yeah.
Like the animatronics would give the presents, they would give the cake, and they would entertain the kids. So you give each of these sacks presents, and then it says give them life. And when you go to the present or go to the sacks, each individual head of each animatronic pops out until if you look closely and you go to videos, and they have it here on YouTube, you can find it. If you slow it down for a person who actually made it to all 4 of the bags, there's a 5th bag that pops up right in the middle of the room, right before Golden Freddy's face pops out at you from that mini game. And that's a mystery 5th bag that we have a theory about, but we'll tell you that later.
So from what we established, that he brought them to life from that one, and then I believe that's where the first murders happened. At least 2 or 3 of the kids at least were murdered there. And so that's when we had one who was in the marionette. He stuffed at least 2 or 3 of them inside there, and was leaving, having revenge for who we believe is the purple guy. So we also believe he at least worked there, because in the other mini games, it shows him with Foxy, showing that he's done it once, twice. On the 3rd time, you see the purple guy to the left, where the kids were, but they're all dead.
And you see in that mini game the purple guy smiling. And remember, well, you see the purple guy smiling. We'll get into that one later. But you see the purple guy smiling when Foxy goes out. He sees 5 dead kid bodies. So,
and from then, the place was closed down, and to make sure that nothing like that would happen again, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 place opened up, where the animatronics now have facial recognition to make sure that none of these kids can get hurt and no one can get in. What they don't know is more likely it was an inside job, but like you said before, the kids were beating up the old ones, and instead of having to repair them or buy new parts every shift, they brought the old ones from the old place. And then that's where their mistake came in.
And that's the thing, is that it seems like the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria was built on the land that the Freddy Fazbear's Diner was. And then when the second set of strings of murders or allegations about murders happened at the first Freddy Fazbear's Diner, they said, okay, instead of rebuilding it on this area, let's take everything to a completely new location. But they never demolished that first Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, because they could go back and get the old animatronics
Yeah, they
from
just
the
left it to
building.
the rot, pretty much.
Yeah, they just left it to be, oh, God damn it. I'm sorry, Freddy.
Yeah.
But they left it to rot. And I think it's unique that the phone guy, as he's calling and talking about the previous establishments, mentioned that they could never find the original owner of the original diner that they had. So they couldn't really get any questions answered about what happened with that first murder child case, or why they closed down to begin with.
Yep.
But where are we going with that?
Yeah, we were going for where at the end of night 6, if you were able to beat it, you get a newspaper clipping saying because of the allegations and all this other investigation for more murder cases, that the place was only open for a week. At least a week. And was shut down, and they're going to demolish the new ones and replace them with the old ones to make them look like what they look in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, with a smaller budget and a smaller establishment. That's why the second one looks bigger than the first one, because they had more money then. Literally, they spent millions of dollars on these new animatronics, and apparently that didn't work.
And the phone guy does tell you that they spent a lot of money on this new system just to have allegations happen.
And investigations and all that, and then just all go crashing down on you. So, main theory of the one is that these were the the vengeful spirits of the murdered children coming back to find their killer. And that's why many people also believe that the killer is the phone guy.
Yep.
Because he sounds like he is a part of the employment. He's been there since the beginning because Purple Guy has been there from the beginning. And also, many point out that when you play one of the mini games in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, when you're following the marionette, while the phone guy, what looks like the purple guy, maybe phone guy, comes at you, and looks like he's got at least a phone in his hand or a nightstick, but he's also got a badge on him.
Yep, a bright yellow badge on his chest, and he comes towards the animatronic, and at the bottom of the screen, you see something telling you, save them?
Pretty much in the beginning you can hear this electronic voice pretty much trying to say, save them.
Yeah.
You get stopped by the purple guy, and the bottom it says, you can't.
So, that just sent chills to my body. But, oh God, okay. So,
that was theory one.
That was theory one, and that's why I was telling you about him saying that Foxy was always his favorite. And then coincidentally, you see some purple adult watching Foxy right before he goes out and sees the 5 dead kids.
With a big old smile on his face.
And he's always smiling every single one of the mini games.
Pretty much, he's just his own twisted fantasy. Now, that was theory number one.
Yep.
Now, theory number two is another one that a lot of people like to go with. Is that this also has 2 parts to it. The first part for it is that what's going on is actually you are pretty much the killer, and all this is just in your head. Not exactly a fever dream like you're dying, but all this is being I don't know, best way to put it, a form of schizophrenia.
Yep.
Many people believe that the first part of it, that you are a victim of the bite of 87. And all this is being played out inside your own head as, I guess, a form of PTSD, pretty much.
Yeah, as you sit in a mental institution.
Or go about
hospital.
your day or something, because also the phone guy pretty much tells you that you'd be surprised of how a person can live without their frontal lobe. Which, with frontal lobe damage, can come a lot of things, one of them being schizophrenia. And if anyone wants to look that up right about now, you can see there's a lot of things that can go wrong with that.
Yeah, right, Freddy? Oh, God.
Yeah, so many people also believe that you were the killer. You were the one, you were killing the children, getting away with it, and then you got the victim of the bite of 87. Which leads up to the first Five Nights at Freddy's 1. This is just all replaying over and over inside of you with new nightmares and new torment for you.
Yes, the theory that we had about that is we agreed that at some point, but this is before we got all the information on Five Nights at Freddy's 2. But we believe that at some point the killer was killing kids in this location, the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 location, and stuffing their bodies in suits. And somebody or something had figured out that this was going on. The police investigation was starting. So in order to take the suspicion away from himself, the guard, whoever it was, started tampering with the machines. Which is why you see that on the checks in both nights that the machines were being tampered with. And he was setting one of the machines up, particularly Foxy, because he has the longest mouth.
Yeah, it was either the Foxy or the Mangled. Yeah, one of those two.
Foxy or the Mangled. And I'm leaning a little more towards the Mangled, but we'll get to that later. And he was inside of the Mangled's mouth, reprogramming or recalibrating something, and made a calculation error, and that's how he got part of his frontal lobe bit, because he heard the machine whirring up and tried to pull out and got clamped. And that's where the police found him, or found the suspect, was, kind of like a bloody mess.
Yeah, because they said on the report and from the newspapers that they caught him on camera and tried to track him down and got him the next day.
Yeah, but they never said what happened to him.
Yeah, or who he was, because they never said if he was an employee or anything else like that.
That's right. So they did catch a suspect, but if you catch somebody who's almost brain dead,
Yeah.
at the point, you're not going to tell the people that he was almost brain dead, nor are you going to tell the people you put him in jail because you didn't.
Yeah.
But as long as you tell the public you apprehended the suspect, then fears can be waylaid and the business can continue to operate.
Yeah, more likely. And also some hush money wouldn't be a bad thing from Fazbear Entertainment by now.
Yeah, because Fazbear Entertainment, everybody must understand, is a corporation.
Yeah.
Which is why we believe that the first diner, in order to improve the diner and make it a family-friendly restaurant, the guy went and franchised the name or the licensing for the Freddy Fazbear's Entertainment and bought Freddy, the original animatronic.
Yeah.
Which is why we see him in the first minigame saying give him cake, not give him cake. Was it give him cake?
They was pretty much giving them cake, get them happy.
Yeah, get him happy, and he's running around by himself tending to these screaming children where the first child is killed.
Yep.
But what we're going to have to do, all you loyal fans, is take a pause right here and delve into more of the theory with Freddy later. Well, not later. In the next video.
In the next video, pretty much.
So, I am Shape.
I'm Mad Hatter.
And we will see you all in Freddy, unfortunately, in the next video.
Bye-bye.